you are sending a message when you dress a certain kind of way.
Yes.
I mean, the clothes does make the man. Polonius is right, even though Polonius is a fool in Hamlet. Polonius is right in a way. Like, the clothes do say something about
do. And
Welcome to Classical Etc. You're in the studio with Memoria Press.
No, you wouldn't.
but there is
But the AI machine might would.
There is.
The AI machine might.
That's right. Okay, I already do not have control.
Yes.
So good luck, everyone. Am I ready? Hello, and welcome to another episode of Classical Etc. I, in the absence of Jessica, am hosting once again today, but we promise she will be back and things will stabilize. Today, I'm here with Martin Cothran, Carrie McGraw, and Jeremy Breland. So Jeremy is the dean of the upper school at Highlands Latin School, and Carrie is our homeschool liaison. And so we wanted to bring both of them in. Martin and I brought both of them in so that we could talk about formality in school and the importance of it. Is it important? Do we need formality in the classroom? And so we wanted to get both perspectives, the homeschool perspective from Carrie and the classroom brick and mortar school perspective from Jeremy. So hopefully after we do our first question, we can have a nice, robust conversation about that. But first, we need to know what everybody's reading. I'm going to go first because mine is so easy and it's exactly what it was last week. I am still reading Screwtape Letters, Two Gentlemen of Verona. I've started the Shakespeare Challenge.
Oh, yeah, me too.
And and I'm about to finish Anne Cleeve's new British murder mystery, which is very exciting for me. And I'm reading Truth Matters by Cornel West and Robert George from Princeton.
What else?
I know, it's awful and I don't like it. But I'm doing the Crescent Hill book group with Jessica Watson. She has a book group of teachers at Crescent Hill, and they're doing Screwtape. So I have to finish that by Thursday. So, and okay. Carrie, we'll just segue straight to you and what you're reading because I'm planning to read what you're reading, but I'm behind.
Sure. And I'm reading a telephone book. If anyone remembers what those are, you used to sit on them just to get like a little bit of extra height, and it's about this thick. Kristen Lavransdatter.
Right.
Which
I'm going to read that with you.
Probably cannot say right. It is, Norwegian. Ingrid Unstedt. Yeah, see, I can't even say her, or Singrid Unstedt. Oh my goodness, her name. All of the names in this novel are, you've got to read them 2 to 3 times just to make sure that you think you know what you're saying. I am through book 1. So because of this, that's really about the only thing I'm reading right now. And it's the Homeschool Book Club.
Yes. Which is happening soon.
And the discussion for book 1 is in the next couple days.
But if you haven't started it,
you can still join.
I have not. Then I could read books 1 and 2 and hop into the second one.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And because I keep that now, that sign up for each of our seasonal book clubs on our events calendar. That's on our website under Contact Us. So they can go right there, and it's left there for the entire season. So we also have a special little Christmas book coming up too. I throw that in at Christmas time, just a small read that'll be in the middle of Kristen. And this has been a journey. This has truly been a journey. Now, in the meantime, Hound of Baskervilles. Okay, so I'm also on that one, I have to admit. So
that's my next one.
Yeah, Hound of Baskervilles. But I did that already with the book club when we did English Mysteries.
A season of English.
I have fairly recently read it, so that's kind of a cheat.
Your notes.
Yes, I know. That's kind of a cheat. So really, I'll go back through all my notes on that one. But Kristen is occupying my time. And it's been an adventure.
There's a lot more time she's going to occupy.
Yes, I know, Martin. Thank you.
Are you enjoying it?
I'm a little frustrated.
Well,
okay. But I'm at the frustrating I'm really at that frustrating part, like the beginning, that book one. I have told a few homeschoolers that because we pulled this from Martin's 12 Great Christian Novels, that if I don't like the book, I'm walking into your office and putting up a fuss. Okay?
Well, that'll be when I'm 93, because
Probably.
you won't be able to finish it until then anyway.
Well, did you know that there is a huge discussion of Kristen Lavrenstetter on the forum from years ago?
I didn't know that.
A bunch of us read it together, and not just in a formal way. It just happened, or it just came up, and it became this huge. Lots of great input.
Oh my goodness!
You should see if you can find that. I would find it for you, but I can never find.
I'll see what I can search.
Just so people know, this is what a 14th century Norway.
Yeah, it's not an easy
It's a
read.
historical novel,
and it's a translation.
And it's a translation,
and it's been translated a couple of times.
Yes, it has.
And I read the original translation, and now I'm going to read the newer one.
And I'm reverse. I read the newer one because we listened to it. My wife and I listened to it in the car on several trips.
Several trips.
And several long trips. And,
he keeps coming back to that.
Right. And I actually have an old boxed set, an original first edition box set with 3 volumes. It was originally published in 3 volumes, and it has the older translation, which I've sampled, and I'm thinking I would like this because it's that more sort of archaic voice. Something more like some of the things that you would read by Tolkien or something.
Right.
It's got that, and so I want to read the original.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the difference.
I will say that it's not a hard read. This translation is not a hard read.
No.
I think it is an easy read. It's a long read.
Yeah, I think that's the Nunnally translation.
Yes, but it is not a hard read by any means, and so it is. It is a good story. It is a good story.
But it is a frustrating story.
Yes, it's very frustrating.
So what are you reading, Martin?
Well, I was out on my front porch yesterday.
With the air conditioner blowing?
No, I didn't need it yesterday.
Martin reads on his porch, but when it's too hot, he opens the window so he gets the air conditioner from inside
and I have
the
the fan
house.
there, and it blows right on my back. I've got a rocking chair, and yeah, it's beautiful.
And expensive.
Yeah. My wife just looks and just. So I had a stack of books. Because I read, as Mortimer Adler said, syntopically. So I will, and I had 4 hours to read yesterday on a Sunday. So I will read like the main thing I'm reading, and then I'm reading, trying to get through Jacques Barzun's From Dawn to Decadence. I'm reading just one myth every session. I'm reading from Edith Hamilton's mythology. So I have a lot of shorter readings. But the one I was going to mention was Joseph Epstein. I can't remember the name of the volume I'm reading, but it doesn't matter because he is, I think, our greatest living essayist. And he's a literary essayist. He's writing about books. He publishes in the Wall Street Journal. He's frequently got articles in the Wall Street Journal, other publications. He was the editor of the American Scholar for many years, and I used to read his editorials in there. They were so incredible. And he writes in a very simple, straightforward style, but he is so widely read, and there's so many quotations he brings to bear on things that it's just a treat to sit down and read Joseph Epstein. So all his books are pretty much the same. They're just collections of essays. So I would highly recommend Epstein. I really, and it's one of the reasons I read syntopically, because clearly he does, because he's pulling things from everywhere.
Is there a particular spot people should start with Epstein?
Yes, on their porch.
No, I meant, is there a particular book that would be best to start with?
I'm trying to think of the name of the one I'm reading. Oh gosh, I can't remember. I've got 15 of them on my shelf.
I'm so glad you're forgetting things. Thank you so much for making me feel normal when I butcher Kristen's author's name.
It really doesn't matter. That's just anything, but just get on Joseph Epstein and on Amazon and look up Joseph Epstein.
And they're all good.
They're all good. Yeah, absolutely.
Jeremy, are you reading?
I'm a literature teacher.
He doesn't have time to read. He's a literature teacher.
Well, we know you're reading Shakespeare.
I'm reading whatever the kids are reading at any particular time. So,
That's right.
But we're actually right now in the second act of Lear. So we're in Lear, which I'll be okay until we get to the end. But we're also reading for the Shakespeare little challenge.
So you're reading 2 Shakespeare plays at the same time?
At least one because I've not read all of Shakespeare, and I'm looking forward to actually finishing it up. But the kids have started on Macbeth because of just our sequence. They've missed Macbeth, which is a shame. But I think a lot of the students that missed it last year and students that are going to miss it this year, they're going to hop in and challenge with us and read Macbeth. So I love Macbeth. It's a simple play. It's short. It's fast if you get in there and read it.
Is that where you started as well?
What's that?
What did you start with on the challenge?
No, we're starting it right now.
Okay, so you're reading Lear and Macbeth.
Lear and Macbeth. So I've already read Macbeth many times because I used to teach it. So
so it'll be fast for you.
Fast. Yeah, I'm just thumbing back through it, but it's just reading back through it. I can hear my mind starts to finish the sentences that you get to, right? So as you're reading through, like by the pricking of my thumb, something wicked this way comes, and I'm just like,
There's no better way to actually get everything out of a play than to teach it.
Oh man, and then to teach it 3, 4, 5 years after that.
And keep seeing things, and students point things out that you haven't seen.
Well, in fact, I've got a little practice that I picked up from one of my colleagues that students always say something that just you hadn't thought of yet. Because, they've got minds and they've got eyes and they're reasoning and listening. And once they get up to the upper grades, they're reading rather well. And whenever a student makes a comment that I'm like, that's something that I have not thought of. That's exactly what the author's doing. I'll actually write their little names down in my notes.
It's so
and I'll transpose that. Who told me that?
Yeah, that's that you write down the student that told you.
Exactly. Yeah. So
that's great.
Later on, years from now, I'll be able to have a little note there and have that student's name next to that little note in a kind of way of giving them credit. So I actually got that from Kyle. So
do that. Yeah.
Yep. So I've got a little note right there with a couple students' names on it. But anyway, I actually got to sub for 9th grade, which is where Macbeth moved in the full-time school. And it was the opening scene. It's just a page. But man, we had a 20-minute conversation about, 10, 15 lines. It's just good. It's just the way you open it up. So Macbeth is fun. So I'm enjoying it.
And they've studied that history. They've already studied that history. Mm-hmm. And so that makes it, that really brings it alive for them as well, than to see it creatively written about.
I think Macbeth is a kind of a little opposite and a little antithesis of history. Like Duncan was actually a very poor king. He's a very good king in Macbeth.
Right.
But Macbeth was a very good king and a poor king. And
that should be part of the discussion.
Yeah, it certainly is. And it's just fun to watch it trail out. Lady Macbeth is a fun character to talk about at the very end.
Yes.
By the end of the play, most people are like, crucify her, and I have to rein some of that back.
Well, I hope not. I got to play her in high school, so let's not do that, please.
Did you really?
I did.
I did.
Yeah.
Okay. We will start with the listener question next, which we always do. Hello, Classical, etc. team. I'm going to read the first part because it is nice about us. And you just never know.
Yeah, we read compliments.
To start, my wife and I enjoy your show immensely. We feel as though a part of us is absent when we are delayed in viewing an episode by a few weeks. Inspired by your words and our spiritual conviction, we've delved into the merits and intricacies of classical education over the past 3 years. We have also started teaching our children at home for the first time this school year. We have a first grader, kindergartner, pre-K 3, and newborn based on those same convictions. Okay, so he says his name is Bryce, and thank you for those very nice words, Bryce. The goal for classical education is to focus on cultivating the whole person. My questions pertain to extracurricular activities and physical fitness. We want to give our children experiences in sports, music, and art while balancing our homeschool schedule and our jobs. We want to develop their mind skills as well as their body skills. So he's curious. So I wanted to do this question while you're on here, Jeremy, because he's curious about the requirements for physical fitness and music, art, extracurricular activity at Highlands Latin School.
Oh yeah. So physical fitness, we have in the upper school. In lower school, it's just slightly different. It's mostly the same thing, but it's slightly different. we have a club sports, so it's an hour every week. It's just one little period every week, and kids, in a kind of sense, get to run around and play, but they get to run around and play traditional sports games. So they learn the rules to flag football, and they learn the rules to basketball and baseball. Well, it's like wiffle ball, but anyway, they learn the traditional rules to traditional games, and they actually get rather good at it coming up through the years. But my favorite thing about actually going and watching club sports is that the kids actually just really enjoy playing games against their friends. And I mean that in a way of it's sometimes very funny to watch them play against their friends that they sit in class with all day long. But then also they're actually rather good sportsmen and I guess sportswomen players as well. Like they're actually very, very good at the sportsmanship of play as well. And I think that's just as important as learning the actual rule of it. I want students to be able to learn to be clever with sports, to outsmart their component, to be competitive, to not give up when they're behind. It's not all about strength. Well, exactly. And it's not over when you think that you're starting to lose, right? It's not over until the buzzer rings, right? And I want a student to be competitive and try their best.
Because you can always have revenge.
Well, and as I've watched enough club sports, it's been actually a fact where students have not been doing well.
Yes, absolutely.
And they actually come in from the rear, and they actually take back over, and they win. So I've watched a lot of like buzzer beater, so to say, club sports periods where the loser, who was loser underdog the whole time, actually won.
And you have PE now.
Yeah, that's
you have recess.
Recess. That's right. Yeah.
15 minutes after lunch every day?
Yeah, roughly. And pretty much that is a time for kids to just enjoy the outside, throw a little football, throw a frisbee, do whatever.
Because we do work them hard.
Yeah.
And they're in the classrooms, at their desks, in a formal setting. And so they just need a little bit of time to breathe and to be together.
It is nice.
And so it is a nice addition. And in the grammar school, we have PE, a formal PE twice a week, and the other 2 days when they're not having PE, they also have a recess time.
That's right. Yeah.
Outside. And then for art and music, in the grammar school, they have a music class, half an hour music class every week, and an hour art every 2 weeks. And they have, they're all in a choir, a Latin choir. For an hour a week. So we've got it all interspersed the best we can.
Yeah. Upper school, we have the same kind of thing. We have an hour of club sports, as we call it, and we have an hour of choir, Latin choir, which they learn sacred music. I mean, they're singing the best of music, I believe.
And you have had art clubs before.
Exactly.
I don't know if Kyle's got one going right now.
Yeah, it's not. Is it this week? No, this week's poetry club. So we have poetry club, and art club that run together, and a couple other things too. I mean, there's coding club and just little different things that students start and keep going. And
he says, in addition to asking what we do, he also wants to know how we would integrate extracurricular activities into our homeschool.
Right, that's what I was going to say. We're giving school answers to it.
But listen, they're already doing it. They have play outside after they finish their schoolwork. Their 2 oldest children are enrolled in a city children's choir. Their 3 oldest are enrolled in ballet. I mean, they're getting it done.
Yeah. That's a beautiful mix.
Yeah. But can I also say something? Because we were homeschoolers.
I don't know.
Don't know that he can say something.
I might ask.
He just talked about revenge. I mean,
having homeschooled and having homeschooled, 3 of our kids were boys, and so sports was a more important thing, I think, there. And a lot of parents get sucked into club sports.
Sports were more important because they were boys?
Yeah,
they're more interested in it.
Listen,
would you say, Jeremy?
Being nice.
These dreamers over here don't seem to
Wait a second. I have 3 girls and a boy, and we have done athletics all along from the age of 3 all the way up to 18.
You are a Neanderthal.
It has been an interesting balance.
My boys were more, and his friends. I mean, they were more interested in sports than girls were. But it looks like girls are more interested in some other things that boys aren't. So,
oh my God!
Yes, but the year that after I launched.
So assuming that boys and girls are different, which I'm going to assume here. Apparently, Tanya's not assuming that. That you can easily get sucked into league or club sports and think that your child is going to be a star in this area, and you invest massive amounts of time and money doing this. My second son was a very good player. He was one of the best players in Kentucky. He was in the clubs, my wife and I look back on that experience, and we wonder if, he was a soccer player. He now works for the U.S. Soccer Federation. So it worked out for him that way, but for the vast majority of players, they never even played in college. Yeah. And this is a difference between boys and girls just from the bureaucratic level, is that...
Are we ready for this?
Well, you think you're going to help pay for your child's college through doing this. He was a very good player and only got like $8,000 as a scholarship to college, because there's much more money per athlete with girls, actually. You have a much better chance of getting college paid for in girls' sports than you do in boys' sports. There's just, because there's so many boys playing and the money is, spread over those. And so all these parents thought that they were going to get all this stuff done and get college paid for it. And it's not true. Yeah. Well, don't get sucked into that, because that's the biggest thing I saw in
True. So as long as we come back to, we're not talking about college sports today. We're talking about formality, and I want to bring into
sports at school, and it was a homeschool question.
I know, but we're not going to college sports. But I do want to bring to it, though, the focus of purpose in what it is that you choose for your children to do. Number one, my husband and I were always very purposeful about our parenting. What is our end goal? Therefore, classical education, as I discovered it many years ago, was the greatest match for us. And then number two, what are the things that are within the family life that fulfill the purpose of our family and what it is that we want to do and how we want to raise our children? And if ballet is something that fulfills that purpose, that's beautiful. If it's piano, if it's violin, when we started a student in violin, we had to determine, do we just go the traditional route or do we do Suzuki? We chose Suzuki because it fit the purpose of what we were trying to do for our family. As we investigated that, the sports that we chose were very deliberate. We spent years on a swim team because that was a life skill. And then we approached any of the sports that we played, and we've done football, swim team, volleyball, baseball, softball, some soccer. There's been a little bit of everything, but everything was also a teaching moment for us as parents. Nothing was, we're just going to go do this and fill our schedule. It was, you're on a team, and we talk about, why are you on a team? Why are you playing a team sport? Cross country. Cross country might look like an individual sport, so may swimming, but it's not. It's very much a team sport. So we utilized all of these extracurricular activities as part of our family and parenting plan and made them purposeful.
Right.
But my point was simply that you can get obsessive about, it's easy to get obsessive about certain things. And my wife says to this day, all those weekends at cheap hotels at these soccer tournaments, I wished we had just gone camping as a family, So that's what I was sort of warning.
And you're just so right. Be careful. You are right. Yes. Just, you do have to be careful not to think, we've got to do everything. Right. But I think the number one thing is just to follow the interests of your children.
Yes.
And I really think that is the number one thing.
Try to become a good amateur at something, so it's enjoyable in your life.
But when they're young, and you're trying to introduce them to things, they don't necessarily know exactly what they're interested in. So it's a time to introduce them.
I introduced my youngest son into T-ball, and I had to run around the thing, whatever you call that thing, with him, holding his hand.
Whatever you call that thing.
So,
are there pictures of this?
No. Right. So, sports weren't really his thing, but music was. Mm-hmm. And so, I just had to follow that. My kids played soccer, but they just never were really passionate about anything like that. But they did have other interests. And so I think you can't force, you can't just think, well, we have to have gymnasium as part of you do have to have physical activity as part of your school day.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Even in homeschool.
But even playing outside is fine. And to pick a sport or two, I do think a team sport is really important for a while, so that they do learn how to be on a team. And how to be committed to their teammates. It's not about them.
Yep. Thank you.
And so all of that I think is important. I just think be careful not to overdo it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not to think you have to be involved in so many. I think this is the perfect balance here.
It's a beautiful balance.
3 students in ballet, 2 in choir is very nice.
And then another thing on music, though, because we talked about the choir, which is easier to do at school. If you can find a choir, like in this case, that's great. But also just, I think, becoming a good player on at least just one instrument. Just, I think that's really important so that you can be good at, part of all this, sports, music, and art, is to be good at something. That is rewarding, hugely rewarding. And so I would say, try to do it so that they find an instrument that they really like and become really good at that. Right.
And that is rewarding, but it's also a good way to teach self-discipline.
Yeah.
And ownership. It's something that they come to own, just like we want them to own their academics. We want them to own what the knowledge that they learn and cultivate, through the curriculum, through our classical education in Memoria Press. We want them to own many things. And when they become good at something, it's something that they own.
That's right. Yeah. And then one more thing, because Cheryl talked about this.
Okay.
Is knowing all the classic folk songs and the old children's music. I think this is hugely important. This is kind of a heritage that's been handed down to us, and I don't know how many people do that much anymore. But we had old, LP records and stuff. So our children were hearing that in the background. It was playing. They knew those songs. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Bryce. And if you have a question for us, we are getting ready to do a mailbag episode in the next couple of weeks. So please send your questions to podcast@memoriapress.com, and we will try to get to them. Hopefully, maybe without this much length. But Jessica does a much better job controlling us than I do. So on to today's topic, half an hour in.
We did this with Jess the last time, too.
That was me last time, unfortunately.
We've determined the problem.
I tried to get you to
correlation.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the importance of, or necessity of, possibly formality in the classroom. And that is a really important topic today because a lot of our classrooms across this country are progressive and chaotic. And one of the important facets of a classical education is that we would consider it to be traditional, and that's the best way to educate children is in a traditional classroom. So I found this little, it was on her computer, Cheryl Lowe. She called it HLS Sound Bites. And so I'd like to read just the first one. We value discipline in the traditional classroom. Teacher at the front, students in rows, quiet, orderly, purposeful classrooms with efficient and effective learning activities. At Highlands Latin School, the teacher is the sage on the stage. We have outstanding teachers who are worthy of the undivided attention of our students. We teach our students that the joy of learning is not in being entertained, but in a job well done. So, what do we think about that, Martin? Is formality important? Is it necessary for an education?
Yes, and I was thinking about this, about formality. What is it about formality that is good? Mm-hmm. And I came up with 3 things. It imposes something formal is usually more orderly. Right? So it's a way of imposing order on a situation so that you can get things done. Right? So the second would be just efficiency. If you're serious about getting something done, academics in the classroom, you have to have that formality, that order, because otherwise it's chaos and you can't get anything done when things are chaotic. And thirdly, I think what another thing formality does is it underscores the importance of what you're doing. Okay.
Yes.
All of the really important events in life are formal,
Well, they used to be.
They used to be. But marriage is still a very formal thing. I was just at a Ukrainian wedding this weekend, and this was underscored for me once again. Everything all of a sudden becomes formal when something really important is happening. Football games. I noticed. I told my wife the other day. I said, "This is the only place we have pageantry anymore in our is this formal thing we do at the beginning of games and all this." And I thought that tells you what we think is important is sports, So, but I do think that it does underscore the gravity of what you're doing. So.
What about in the home, Carrie? Do you think it's important that you have formality in the home? I speak as someone who let their children do their school in their pajamas when they were at home. I regret that.
It's not that we didn't have pajama days, but guess what? Those were formally scheduled.
Not for me.
Absolutely, it's important. I mean, here you have a homeschooler with multiple children, multiple ages, multiple needs. Mom or dad are swapping hats all day long, with their children, having to put on the teacher hat, the mom hat to start the beginning, the dad hat to maybe end the day. And so there's a natural level of chaos, in the homeschool. God bless everyone. And so bringing formality to the school day is very important. I speak often to our homeschoolers about having a formal opening to their day and a formal closing to their day. And I call it a morning opening and an evening closing. And that their day needs to start at a regular time. And everyone needs to depend upon that order. That order in a homeschool is a little bit more challenging to build than in a traditional brick and mortar classroom. Students, there's already formality. They've been dropped off or come off the bus or something like that.
They're dressed.
But they're dressed. We hope. But in a homeschool, that starts immediately. Out of bed. What's the first routine that you're doing? That first routine is make my bed, get dressed, brush my teeth, come down for breakfast. Is breakfast a hodgepodge of everything? Well, maybe in some survival situations, but, bring them to the table in a formal manner to have breakfast, to read scripture, to bring that, I'm going to use the word again, formal opening to your day. And again, the order is so important. There's no peace without order. It will not exist.
And for, as Martin said, efficiency.
Yeah.
We've got a job to do. And
Absolutely.
We've got to get it done. So we're going to come back to how other ideas maybe that would help us get that done in the homeschool setting.
Sure.
I do think that in the classroom setting, it is different.
Sure.
You're dealing with,
right.
Well, it's the same. Martin's three things are the same for both, right? It's all about the education we're giving these children. But in the classroom, you've got a lot of teachers that you've got to corral, and they've all got to have the same vision.
Sure, yeah.
And so how do you instill that sense of seriousness, of gravitas in your school?
Sure, yeah. So the school itself has a kind of like a memory of culture, right? I don't have to engender the kind of culture in HLS. It's already there. So it is a kind of way in which you come into this school and you can feel it. Like when we start the morning off, and I got a little bell now that I ring my little bell and everybody comes out into the hallway, you can tell, oh, this is different. When all the students come into the hallway and we get quiet and then a teacher speaks. So a formal
opening.
So we actually you were going through, I think, kind of like a liturgy, right? It's a morning open, right? And we actually start with morning prayer. We start with morning a pledge of allegiance and announcements and things like that. I think about the way we open a classroom as the bell rings and we come into my literature classroom. All literature classrooms at the upper school we have all the students stand on the left side of their desk, stand up straight. And we recite a piece that we're reciting together as a class. So,
and the same is happening in Latin.
Same is happening in
Greek.
Latin. Yep, exactly. So there's a lot of classes that do that, or they have a kind of a warm up opener where they know that they're going to have a problem they have to do right at the beginning. So they sit down and they work out a problem really quick together, and then a math teacher or a history teacher or whomever is going to work through a little problem with them at the beginning. So even as you were talking about this like liturgy of getting up, making your bed, it puts you in the right headspace.
Yes.
So you were talking about how do you kind of inculcate that in a place? You got to have those actual functions, those formal functions, that kind of liturgy to the day. It puts you in the right headspace. I think a bit of formality speaks two different ways. It speaks to two different people. It speaks to the people who are observing it, saying, wow, as Martin said in your third point, that's important. That has meaning. Like, look at the seriousness of everybody. Even the way it's done is saying something in particular, right? But it also speaks to the people that are doing it as well. It puts me in the right headspace when we get together and we pray our prayer in the morning. It's actually a prayer from St. Ignatius, teach me to be generous, right? Teach me to serve you as you deserve, to give and not to count the cost. I mean, that saying that every morning, it can become kind of dry or repetitive. But if you actually listen to what's actually being said in the little procedures that you're doing, gets you in the right headspace. It speaks to you as well to kind of get you to kind of, I need to stand up straight. I need to put my things together. Actually, one of the little formal things that I do for myself, actually, when I walk into a classroom, is I actually literally button the top button of my jacket to kind of remind myself, okay, it's time to stand up straight. I unbutton it because I have to write up on the board, right. But I literally still do it. I button my top button when I walk in because I go, okay, now we're about to start, and I need to kind of get into my formal headspace too.
Because one of the things formality underscores is this thing that is formal is different.
Exactly. It's different from what we just did.
It's set apart.
Exactly. From the casual moment we had in the passing period, right? In the full-time school, the bell's rung, stand up, right? And everyone stands up. And then in unison, like in chorus, like we all, we've been doing Shakespeare's To Be or Not to Be soliloquy from Hamlet. So it's to be or not to be. That is the question. And all the students are done with that. And then once it's done, I'll say, well done, be seated. And they'll all sit. And that we're in class now. That stood different than the passing period when they got to talk to their friends and run to the bathroom and grab their books and have a little joke or whatever with the teacher in the hallway. Yeah, it puts us in the right headspace. If I do that, I'm already set up for a pretty good day. Like I'm already set up for a pretty good period. If I can get that one little formal moment accomplished,
right,
I'm already in the right space.
You set a tone.
Space. Yeah,
you've just set a tone.
If I miss that, right, because I've got something else to do and we're running through it really quickly, which I never do. But if I have missed it before, we've got a quiz and I go, guys, we got to get started. We got a test. Once you used all up here, we're just going to skip a recitation. I even feel that the classroom's just a little bit different if I don't have that formal start to the day.
A little looser.
Yeah.
If I may, sorry, Martin, formality for the parent at home, for me, started quite honestly on the weekend. I would on Sunday evenings, Marcus take all the kids, and I got an hour and a half, and I was planning out the entire week. I was tabbing pages. Where was I going to be with each kid? I was getting everything ready, and if again bringing order to that which was going to happen and had to happen through the week. And it's the same thing for a classroom teacher as well.
Oh, yes.
But, that's the formality that sits upon the parent to be ready, to be well prepared for that which is coming. And sometimes I tell parents that are really new to Memory Press, teach yourself lessons. Just spend time teaching yourself a lesson so that you know exactly what it is that you're going to be taking on with your child. Because guess what? If we don't set that tone, if we don't have order, if we don't prepare, they know it.
They do know it.
They know
it. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's not accidental that it happens. It's through great effort, right? For the leader, like either the parent or the teacher, whomever. It's only through great toil of their part in advance before that moment to make that formality actually say something to both the parent or the teacher and the student and by virtue, the school itself as well in a full-time school.
Well, and the other thing is, you can't do school at home to the same extent that you can do school at school.
Sure.
But you do have to, and it's something that when you're at school and you have a formal schedule and all this, it's easier to do is marking off time on and time off to know when you're supposed to be in the formal act of academic education and when you're not. And that's harder to do at home. You have to have school time, and it has to be very distinct, I think, from non-school time. That doesn't mean they can't read a book or something, that they probably need to do that in there.
Or take a break.
Right. But, and also you said the word liturgy, and I think that's important here. Have days, times, seasons in your home. Yeah. And sometimes if you go to a liturgical church, you can use some of that there.
That's right.
Obviously. But making certain events special, we do this with birthdays. We have a sort of liturgy of a birthday where you make the birthday cake and you sing happy birthday and right. And have holidays, you do up the holidays. My wife, St. Patrick's Day, she's Irish. St. Patrick's Day, and she would every St. Patrick's Day. My kids remember that to this day. She would make pistachio pudding, green pistachio pudding. That was always something we did. Have these traditions in your family that are stressing certain things, and so with holidays, birthdays, that sort of thing. So I think. This is a constant balance. I was thinking of the play and the movie Sound of Music, where the father was all about regimentation and she was about beauty and enjoyment, and you have to marry the two. You have to marry those two things, and you need formality to do it. I think
you do.
Formality and informality.
But I do want to make a very clear point here, though, that we're not expecting a homeschool to be a classroom brick and mortar school. Like that's not what we're doing. That the formality exists in both genres, but it is just different. And it's a homeschooler's ability to look at their day, that their week, that their curriculum, and bring their version of formality to that. The point is, it's important. And how you do that should look different home by home. I mean, if pajamas worked in your home, okay, well, maybe they didn't.
It was very informal.
Yeah, see, that's the one thing I would insist on is don't dress in the thing you got up from bed.
And we didn't either. But yet we had days that, like I said, we did schedule in some things like that. We have to have a little bit of let your hair down.
Yes, we don't really have that much in the brick and mortar school because I've been to schools that were in total chaos. I've been to schools where administrators had pajamas on because it was pajama day. And that really, yes.
I can see Jeremy.
I would love to see you walk those halls in flannels. Your pajamas, Jeremy. But that really did leave.
I would quit.
We commit you.
It made things feel not serious. Like it wasn't. This is school is the student's job.
I've seen pajama days at. I mean, I'm
not here. I hope.
No. I mean, I've worked at other schools that have had pajama days, and I was educated in a school that had like the traditional, Spirit Week, getting ready to play your rival, and you got particular days, and one of them is always pajama day. I've actually noticed at other schools that have like Spirit Week pajama days like Thursday, but really. Kids come in on Monday with pajamas and Tuesday with pajamas and Wednesday with pajamas. And I go like, pajama day is not pajama day. Pajama day is, I don't have to, like you said, Martin, I don't have to comb my hair day. Right. And that kind of thing like gets in you. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing.
It makes a difference.
It's like a weed. It's once you let it start to get so large, it is spread. And now it's very hard to pull it out. Like now it takes like serious effort to start to pull that out of your soul, that kind of like lackadaisical laziness. Having days of relaxation, everybody needs a break, right? There's this kind of Sabbath built into the week. We need to take time off or you will burn yourself up. And I'm not saying time off is like, completely shutting down and like we're not going to ever, we're not going to lift a finger to do anything on this day. That's not the kind of rest I'm talking about. You do need a kind of weekly rest where you go do something you enjoy or whatever have you. in the full-time school, talking about like having those kind of like days off, I do not think that's necessary. Like, I do not think having like that kind of like time off is necessary.
Well,
we do have
also
a recess.
Only have a 4-day-a-week school, so our students are home for 3 days.
Yeah, I think
granted they have a lot of work to do, but
Certainly.
it is in a different environment.
Sure, I think. Let me put it this way. I don't think Casual Friday did anything for the business world.
Oh, no.
Do you know what I mean?
Like, and now it's casual every day.
Well, and I think that Casual Friday Casual Friday didn't stay Friday. I don't think it added anything spiritual or social or even product-wise to the business day. I don't think we're better business people because of Casual Friday. I don't think we have better workers because of Casual Friday.
Right.
We can be formal all week. Take your Saturday, right? Take your Saturday, relax. Don't you have to put a tie on Saturday? I mean, you can if you want to, but I think we can do it in a full-time school quite well. It
has been, as things have become more informal in our society. And so, funerals, people are not dressing up anymore. Weddings, people are not dressing up anymore. There is no sense of formality where there used to be. But at Highlands, teachers are in dress like you, suits, ties, women in dresses or pants with a sweater or a blazer. It's very professional still. So does that feel a little odd in our society where nobody's dressing up anymore?
Yeah, I mean,
my husband needed a black tie for a wedding where he was doing the wedding and they requested black.
Jeremy, I think you already said it though. You already said that the culture here is already, firm and foundational.
Because that was Cheryl's.
Right.
But she did that.
This is not exhausting.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
No.
Like putting on a tie in the morning is not exhausting.
I heard somebody who wears sports coats anymore.
That's what I was going to say. My husband needed a black tie, and it was really hard to find a store that still had ties.
Oh, certainly, yeah. And I mean, there's a problem for ladies trying to buy clothes as well. I mean, it's and men too trying to buy clothes.
This is also an opportunity, this informal society of ours, to distinguish yourself. My kids, they like to dress up formally. And they're all fairly athletic and they look good in a suit and they so it's a way to distinguish yourself.
And it's a way to it naturally happens. It renders to you a certain kind of respect as well.
Absolutely.
You just go out in public. Whenever I leave school, I mean, I'm still dressed like this. I don't get into civilian attire, right? This is civilian attire. But when I go over to the store, I mean, I feel like I'm rendered a certain kind of respect because
you look professional.
Because I look professional.
Yeah, and our students.
That's exactly true. Yes.
And we want that. It does help build trust, and it builds respect from our students.
And I think, sorry to interrupt. I also think it, like I said about formality, sending a message to the audience, but it also sends a message to you as well.
Yes.
When I button up my top button, I'm not sending necessarily a message to the student. I'm sending a message to myself because you can't sit right you have to stand up straight and you're going to button your top button, right?
Right.
It sends a message to me. So even going out into the world dressed formally, if you will, right? I mean, it sends a message to me that
the messages it sends. And imagine our students who are dressed up, the boys in coats and ties and the girls and people see that. People outside the school see that and they think, that must be a good school.
Yeah.
They're serious about this.
Yeah.
They must be serious about the academic.
A uniform itself is a form of formality.
Yes, right.
There are homeschoolers that put their kids in uniforms.
There are. There are.
And if that works, please, go
That's
right
what
ahead.
I should have done.
I'm not telling everyone to do that, but I mean,
but it
that
is easier.
does the same thing.
You don't have to make any decisions
right.
about what to put on. And that means that this is a school day.
Yeah.
Because this becomes apparently a very anxiety-producing thing in some schools because of the dress and having the right dress to compete with other people.
It is.
But this eliminates that.
It does.
Everybody
exactly.
Nice,
yeah. And I know it cuts against the grain. I know it cuts against the grain of society to dress this kind of way. And I know you might even have to go buy clothes to be able to participate in a certain kind of dress code, or uniforms to participate in a certain kind of dress code. But
people used to like to shop.
Well, and I think it's.
I still like to shop.
Just as talking about money is exactly where I was going to go. This is well worth it. I mean, I have had persons come in to interview for this school, and I have made judgments about the way that they dress. And it's not just like I'm discriminating against a t-shirt. The t-shirt has its place. It's most certainly not a thing that sends a message that says, I am deserving of respect.
Right.
And you ought to be like really thinking about me as an employee. Like, you are sending a message when you dress a certain kind of way.
Yes.
I mean, the clothes does make the man. Polonius is right, even though Polonius is a fool in Hamlet. Polonius is right in a way. Like, the clothes do say something about you.
And I certainly pay good attention when I'm interviewing somebody about, I pay good attention to, do they look like they just rolled out of bed, or did they prepare for this interview?
Yeah, because it's a compliment to the person you're meeting with.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I want to say that about church. Our family has always come, have approached church formally dressed. And because it is a compliment to the Lord in the way in which we present ourselves. And in so doing, that again sets a tone in the family that this is a formal, set apart, experience for us, and that we're coming to the Lord formally, at least at the very beginning of our week. And so the loss of formality that you talk about, the casualness of all of this, we've really lost something generally as a society in the fact that we come formally to so little now as a whole. And having been a parent of homeschool parent, a Highlands Latin School full-time parent, a Highlands Latin School cottage school parent, a Memorial Academy parent, all of these things are things that we cognizantly come to formally, and they have been a great aid to our family in all ways, having the days at Highlands Latin School that just give great structure. So, but at the same time, in a homeschool, we don't need your kids to come downstairs in ties. It's okay. If they want to, that's all right too. Some little boys just love bow ties. That's okay. We had our years of bow ties. That's all right. But, choose a way for your students to come to the day knowing that this is what Martin said, set apart.
Yeah.
And uniforms do take care of that. Though at home, they're not necessary.
And it makes decisions on the part of the parents easier.
I would say clothes are necessary.
Yeah,
clothes are necessary.
Do as I say, not as I did. Anything else that we've left out? We didn't talk about the respect for curriculum, which I'd found this.
Well, that's another way of being formal.
That's another way of being formal.
This is another. I thought I marked something in here about curriculum. Right. Cheryl said in this essay, you have to be very careful in teaching students not to put them in situations they cannot handle. The way to produce instant apathy is to put them in these so-called learning situations. Students become frustrated and even angry when they're asked to do work they've not been prepared for. Students don't like to fail; they want to succeed. And so, using a curriculum like ours that is well thought out in advance, and we know where each step is leading, should prevent that from happening.
A curriculum is an academic liturgy.
Yes. Yeah. And it's already there for you. You don't have to spontaneously make it up as you go, because you probably won't hit the mark every single time trying to make it up as you go. Something that's been thought out to say, this is where we're going today, or even this hour in this lesson, this is where we're going. I love it when I've got my lesson plans and I look back at my lesson plans and went, we hit the mark.
Right.
We hit the mark. We hit the mark. We hit the mark.
And
even if I didn't get them all finished,
right,
I still hit it.
And you still had this goal that you were working toward.
It's a vision, right? It's a vision. I'm going here by the end of the year. I'm going here by the end of the year.
And that's a real help. That was such a help to me when I was homeschooling, was that Cheryl had that plan, and that all I had to do was follow it and trust it. And I did. And then I knew that even if we hadn't had the perfect homeschool day, the content that we were covering was going to help us as we moved forward. I really trusted in that content.
Yeah, and let me say this for the full-time folks in education and also homeschoolers. If you've got that lesson plan, if you've got that objective today, and you don't meet it, your student needs a little more practice over here. I mean, be be humble enough to say like, hey, we're going to turn around and do that one again, or I'm going to reinforce that point, and then I'm going to come back and hit this. I mean, build another step in there, but always be kind of assessing where your student's at. Say like, we're not quite sharp right there. Let's build that so we can take that next step, and then we can hit that goal. I mean,
and that's harder to do in the classroom. At home, you've got the freedom to do it.
We're looking for the blessing of order, not the curse of rigidity.
Exactly.
And
that's a good statement.
And one of the things that we have always done so well here at the full-time school and in the homeschool curriculum is to teach the teachers, to provide our teachers on both ends exactly what is needed to bring order and formality to the day, because it's already there laid out for them.
And it gets the work done. It helps you get the work
efficiency.
done.
It's a map.
It's a map.
You don't go somewhere, I want to drive to Missouri. It's west. I still need a map to know where I'm going and to tell me where I am now in relation to where I want to be. And
yeah, absolutely, yeah. And sometimes the power goes out.
Oh.
And you need to call an audible. But you know what? The thing that we were going to do the day that the power went out, we figured it out and put it back together, and we're back on track now. Like that's the kind of thing, like we know we need to go that way. Sometimes there's a little obstacle in the way, like the power going out for a couple hours on the morning of the PSAT, but we'll figure it out.
But it wouldn't have been a problem if PSAT had not gone online.
And this goes back to the conversation we were having before.
Oh boy.
I won't go there.
Let's not go there. That's another one. It's 57 minutes.
We're done.
I hope they've stuck with us.
We'll continue this after.
Thank you very much. And we do anticipate that Jessica will be back in control next time. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you hopefully with Jessica back at the helm.
Thanks for joining us today on Classical Etc. by Memoria Press. If you like what you heard, please like, subscribe, or share this episode or comment. We love to hear your questions and your comments. If you want to learn more about Memoria Press, please go to memoriapress.com. This has been Classical Etc. We're so glad you joined us, and we'll see you next time.